So that's a pendant that was given to me, I don't know, like 30 years ago by a woman I didn't know. I have no idea why she gave it to me, but it's a really interesting thing that just happened. So this is Sunday. This is our focus video. I'm going to ask us to take a deep breath, and I'm going to see you on the other side. Show you that pendant because what I wanted to talk about this week with you in terms of what I'd like us to focus on, or I don't want to say that. I don't want us to focus on anything. I want you to focus on what you want to focus on, but I also want to give you something if you don't have anything and you're really interested in taking this journey with me. And that journey is really healing ourselves as women, so that we can collectively heal the feminine for all of us. And one of the most important ways to do that is to take a hard look in the mirror, ask ourselves deep questions, and be willing to look at what we don't want to know about ourselves. And sometimes that's great, awesome, cool information, which is really what I want to do with you more today. And sometimes, like the last video I made, it's taking a hard look about what we're not so great at this point in time. And so what was fun for me about that pendant is I started to think about all the different kinds of videos that are out and about. And you know, one of the things I'm asking you to do is to use this video on Sunday or any day as an anchor. And what I mean by that is that creating within our week a day or a time of day where we say, okay, I'm going to focus on what I want to focus on, whatever that is. And then I want us to be accountable. And part of being accountable is what I'm doing with you here. I'm showing up. I may not feel like it. It may be a bad day. It's been a very frustrating morning. But I'm going to show up regardless, because that's me being accountable to you. And by me doing that with you, it helps me be accountable to myself. And I'm hoping that this will work in reverse. That my getting this to you in your email, if you're following me on Substack, or just showing up in your feed at YouTube, it reminds you, okay, I wanted to be accountable to myself, and this is one of the anchors in my week I can use to do that. And then the third thing I really want to do with you is really what I'm calling heart-driven inspiration. So everything doesn't need to be heavy, bad, and depressing, right? I'd like us feel good about being women, good about our healing process, and good about that we're all having these really unique journeys at all ages and all stages. And so I started thinking about how different we are. And right now, because I'm, making these videos and I'm watching things along these lines, I'm getting this feed of all these different women who are kind of talking about some version of the same thing. And I'm noticing how different their energy, their style, what they look like, how they communicate, what topics they communicate on, and why this pendant, now it's going to go out of focus, sorry. Okay, what was cool about that, I don't know if you can see that, but it's the goddess, and the universe is in her belly, and the world is in her hands. And I found this young woman who's a musician who has this symbol in her corner of her videos. And her music, this album that she made, is about the elders. And she looks like she's in her 20s. And so there's a video to the mothers and of the elders. And she's with this older woman. And they're in, it looks like it's in the British Isles somewhere. And they're in very plain clothes. And the communication is between the elder woman, the gray-haired old woman, and the young maiden, right? The crone, the sage, which I prefer, and the maiden. And there's this exchange of wisdom, and it's beautiful. And I just resonate with that. I like the mystery. I like the ancient feel to it. I like the simplicity. I like the nature. I like the nonverbal. I like the dancing and the fire and the symbols. And I'm like, oh, I love this kind of stuff. And it's cool because here's this young woman, crying out to the wisdom of the older women, which is what I'm trying to do with you guys here. But then I started to look at all kinds of other stuff, and I put those in the post. There's a woman in her 30s, and she's rewilding, and she's intense, and all of her energy is push. And I'm trying to get out of my push energy, right? And then there's another woman in her 60s, and she has no push, and she's very calm, and she's very reflective. And I'll be honest with you, her videos, I can't even watch them all the way because it doesn't resonate with me. But she's very traditional in her look, her clothing, her style, what's important to her. And I posted this particular video with her because she did this really interesting take on an article that I also linked to about what are the most important things to women as they age. And as I was looking at each of these topics, I realized those aren't the things that interest me. I'm not, I don't have kids, so I don't feel like I'm not upset because my kids aren't talking to me. And I don't feel, I'm not interested in romantic relationships, so I'm not being driven by how I look, as am I still sexually attractive or powerful in my physical appearance. And most of the things were just things that weren't interesting to me. But they're interesting and important to most women. And it got me thinking about all the different stages we have as women, and how I've been more like that girl in her woman in her 30s or 40s, where I've been super push about, and I'm moving back, and I'm resonating with the young women and the older women, and I like the ancient mystery feel to it, and I'm not resonating with traditional feminine of mother, wife, grandmother. I don't resonate with any of that stuff because I didn't do it because I didn't want to do it, not because I couldn't do it. And how what I'm doing with you is even a bigger ask, because I'm not asking us to focus on our roles as women. I'm asking us to focus on our identity and our energy and our gifts as wisdom as women, to heal and then to share that with everybody else out in the world, with every thought, with every feeling, with every action. Because to me, it doesn't matter what we do. What matters is that we're just consciously participating with the intention of doing good. And it doesn't have to be complicated. And how I don't want to compete. It's not my plan to say you need to believe what I believe. What my goal, as I keep repeating, is that but nothing changes if we don't do something differently. And that's why, I've been focusing on this idea of change, and that it's simple in its actions and it's excruciatingly difficult at the mental, emotional level. And, women's superpower in my belief system is the strength of our emotional energy. We are very powerful in our emotional energy because we're so connected and infused with the capacity to have strong emotion. Our work is to master it and use it intentionally to uplift and not to tear down and pull apart, or as I said in the previous video, to create emotional violence with our energy spewing out of us. We have to be responsible for that. And so what I loved about these different women is we're all doing it in a different way, but we're all headed in the same direction. And so that to me is really important. It's not important who you listen to or why you listen to them. What I feel like is so important is that this is a critical moment in time where we have the luxury and the gift to take this on as a subject. We can communicate internationally. We can access all kinds of information. It's almost impossible to be isolated as long as the internet is up and running. And we, especially in the West, have the luxury of the capacity to even do this, while ironically, it's often the women in different parts of the world who are actually doing quite a bit more. So I'm really challenging us as, obviously for English speaking, because I don't speak other languages, which is mostly Western culture, is to step it up and really take this moment of precious, precious time. Because who we decide to be and what we decide to share, is really creating the future for girls and boys and the vulnerable. And I don't know any woman that doesn't really care, whether you have children or not, about the future of women and children and even animals, the vulnerable, because we're just wired that way. And it's a good thing, but it's not the only thing. So I hope you'll take a minute to use this as an opportunity to focus and bring your attention back and remind yourself, this is what, I really want to work on. I hope you, if you're on YouTube, you'll go to the Substack and sign up so you can get this Sunday morning in your email. And then within the post, you're going to see these other videos. And I hope you're just going to take a minute to take a look. Does any of their styles resonate with you? Because they have very different style and very different energy and very different agendas. But at the end of the day, they all just want, like me, to uplift and heal ourselves as women, because that is how we empower the feminine. And that is a win for everybody. Man, woman, child, nature, planet, universe. Everybody wins. And that, my friends, is a worthy goal to spend a few minutes at least each week on. So that's a deep breath completion. And with that, I hopefully will see you next time.